we have a very special guest who is joining us. We've been promising you this all week long. From the Help Group, we have Nicole Webb. Welcome to the show. We're so thrilled to have you here. And you're going to tell us what your actual job title is.
Yes. I am the program coordinator for Kids Like Me, which encompasses all of our camp programs, our social skills groups, after-school programs, more like enrichment classes, as well as teen clubs as well.
Oh, great. Cool. And the Help Group is an amazing
Oh, yeah. Tell us about the Help Group. Now, I know all about it, and it's in the Los Angeles area, but it's quite well known nationally. It is one of the largest autism schools in the country, is my understanding, but you educate us about the Help Group.
On a daily basis, we service about 1,400 children that have an autism diagnosis at any of our 4 schools that are specifically designed for these children. We have 2 campuses, one in Sherman Oaks and one also in Culver City, that are specific to these children on the spectrum. And basically the kids are matched with peers that would be in the same kind of academic boat as well as behavioral and that sort of thing, and they're matched together so they have some similar peers as they would in a typical kind of school program.
Great, great. And how long is do you have any idea how long the Help Group has been around?
The Help Group has been around since 1975.
Okay.
Amazing.
And Dr. Barbara Firestone is I guess, the director, the executive director of the Help Group, and she and Dr. Doreen Graham-Pichet are colleagues, and I think Barbara just does amazing work, and I've been to a lot of your events and supported, and you all have supported our events, so it's a love fest between our organizations.
And you guys just had a resource fair this last weekend.
We did, actually. I'll tell you a little bit about the resource fair. Our resource fair was this last Sunday at our new Autism Center, and we started doing this fair it's our 3rd annual fair this last Sunday, and the whole point of the fair is to gain scholarship money for our kids to go to camp, because when Regional Center a couple years ago said no more funding for recreational programs, camp was on the chopping block. Wow. So for our children, we see a huge need in Los Angeles for kids that need to afford camp and be able to go to camp. So that's why we do that fair. Every single dollar that is earned from that event goes towards scholarshiping our children at camp.
That's a wonderful thing. Let's talk a little bit, because it's that time of year. Parents are looking and figuring out, I'm one of those parents figuring out, what am I going to do? And you guys have a variety of different programs. So what kinds of things do you have in the hopper for the summer?
During the summer, we have 4 special day camps for children 3 to about 21 years of age, depending on where they're at developmentally and also their ability level and also their age. So we have Camp Discovery, which is located on the west side in Pacific Palisades. It's 100% outdoors, and this services children about 4 years old to 13, and they do much more of recreational kind of program there, much more like a typical kind of camp program that you would see outdoors, and hikes, a rope swing, kind of really fun stuff, and the camper ratio to staff is very small. It's a 3-to-1 ratio, which is really nice for a lot of our campers. Then we also have 3 camps that meet out of the Valley campus, and so we have our teen camp, which is specifically designed for kids that have high-functioning autism or something related, and it's very much a social skills camp. The kids will kind of talk about social development in the morning, maybe a theme in the morning, and then be able to practice these out in the community because they go on a field trip every day.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and that services kids about 13 to 18 years old. Then we also have Village Glen Camp, which is also our social skills camp program, and that services children about 3 to 13, and kind of similar to Teens on the Go. They stay in a lot more, but they still have a lot of fun. They do a field trip once a week, but lots of fun being had, but the major kind of concentration and emphasis is on that social piece. And then our final camp, that is Camp Sunshine in Sherman Oaks as well, and that serves more moderate to severe children on the spectrum, and that's much more of a recreational camp program. And we deal with behaviors, we'll deal with toileting needs, ambulatory issues, whatever the case may be, to kind of help the campers in that program.
Okay. Great. So you've told us about a lot of the activities.
Yes.
That was going to be my next question, but tell us, Nicole, why summer camps and summer programs are so important for children on the autism spectrum.
Children with autism learn throughout the school year, right? And then we have this dip during the summer for a lot of our kids, either regression of behaviors or regression of even speech, or some things they've learned through the school year kind of fall back. So what camp does and what summer programs for kids, even if it's an after-school type program after ESY or something like that, really will help the child to kind of retain what they've learned and to keep that where they're at and to not regress back to old behaviors, hopefully, when we are doing these kind of camp programs and different summer programs.
Yeah, and we even see this statistically when they look at kids, and it doesn't matter whether a child's on the spectrum or not, that if they take a look at a child who's had a longer break, we will see, I call it shrinkage, that's my word for it, but
okay.
We'll see that the children will start to lose some of their skills, and that's not just kids on the spectrum. I used to be a teacher, and it was amazing to see the kids who would come back in the beginning of the school year to see who had been, having demands put on them on a regular basis and how much more prepared they were to start the new school year.
So the idea that your child might need a break over the summer to do nothing is erroneous. I mean, it really is not a wise decision.
I would love to hear your opinion, but I personally think that, giving them some time to do stuff that's
time maybe to go on a family vacation.
Recreational and things like that, but that we don't have a thing where we let go of what we're working on. Is that, would you agree?
I would absolutely agree. I feel like the behaviors don't go away during the summer. The verbal capabilities, you definitely don't want that to go away during the summer. So being able to have a structured environment, I think, is the biggest thing for our children during the summer. Is whether it's a camp or something like that, that the structure is still there, that they are able to follow a schedule and to be able to have an all-day type of thing. Because if they're just sitting at home, maybe watching TV or potentially doing some other activities, it's still not 100% structured. And having a really strong curriculum that is based in that structure and having half an hour for each activity and that sort of thing really will help the kids to kind of generalize some of the skills, hopefully, that they learn in school, and maybe even acquiring new skills as well.
It's a great point, to give them an opportunity for generalization. I'm curious to know, first of all, let's start by saying if somebody is in this area and wants to participate in the camps, how can they get a hold of you guys so that they can register for one of your camps?
They contact me. So I am the contact person for all the camps. I do every single intake for any child that goes to camp, because I really want to assess the child's needs and see where they're at to make sure I make an accurate decision of which camp program they go to. Okay. So you can email me. My email is nwebb@thehelpgroup.org. Okay. So WEBB. And my direct line to my actual office is 818-778-7136. And that's kind of the best
Say it
way.
one more time.
Sure. 818-778-7136.
Okay, great.
Is there any financial assistance for children that can't afford it?
There absolutely is. The last 2 years at camp, we've been able to provide scholarships for families. Of course, there's a financial aid process. There's an application they will fill out, as well as some tax information that we do need to see a financial hardship in the family. It's not necessarily based on income, it's a financial hardship. So, and what we do is we'll look at that as a committee, and that's coming up pretty soon here, that we'll look at all of our applications and kind of see how much money we can allot towards scholarships. Typically, we're able to do at least 50% of the camp cost off for families, which is highly significant for a lot of our families. So, of course, there's a shared cost, but at the same time, it's really beneficial for the kids, and we can kind of work with families to figure out how it works with them. We're really flexible on that sort of thing because we know how difficult it is. It's so expensive. Even typical camps are so expensive for any family that we see that as a huge need for the Los Angeles community.
Right.
And I want to know, for people who aren't in the Los Angeles area, your opinion about what's the recipe for success, because you guys have had a great deal of success with your camps, yes?
Yes, we serviced 240 children last summer for camp, so it's quite a significant number. But there's families that ironically come from different countries. They've come from different states to come to our camps, because unfortunately, because of regional center funding kind of falling out, is a lot of camps have had to unfortunately close their doors.
Yes.
So we're kind of in LA, we have a couple programs that are out there too, but we're kind of the bigger one that works with kids on the spectrum specifically.
So kids can come from out of state.
Sure, absolutely.
And you have housing for them? And
we don't have housing for them, but what we can do is kind of, if it's a huge amount of people that come, we have different relationships with different hotels and things like that to help out families and do that. I've referred some families to specific hotel places that aren't too far from the campus and different things, because if someone's coming from a different country, they would have no idea. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's how well known the program is, that people do come from all around. Well, I'm wondering, maybe for next week's show, you and I can do some research on, maybe there is sort of I don't know whether there's a website on camp programs nationally, that maybe we can give that information, because
Absolutely.
we don't have that right now. But
and I don't think there is. I mean, I've looked for that kind of thing before, but I think one of the things that people tell me is that going to your local support group and saying, what camps have you used in the past, that's a good way. But I'm curious for you, what do you think are the great hallmarks if a parent is looking and they can't get to your camp? What do you think is most important in a camp?
I think in every camp you should have staff that are wanting to be there and excited to work with these children, as well as also their expertise. I think that's huge. If you send someone to a camp where they are just babysitters, well, that's not appropriate. You need to have people that are potentially either teachers or TAs or therapists that potentially work with these children maybe during the school year, and that kind of translates to a camp counselor. That's what we do. So just having a high quality of staff is really important, and then also just having that structured curriculum I think is really important for most of our children, because they like schedules. They like being able to follow different schedules and being able to go from activity to activity and not having a lull or a hard time in that transition phase into different activities. So.
Okay, that's good information. And we were talking about the story in the news of the father in New Jersey, and it seems as though in that situation certainly there were aides that weren't trained clearly, or they would not have behaved that way. So that's very important to check out the staff.
Absolutely key.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there are any stories that you have of past summers and camps, and anything in particular. We don't want to infringe on anybody's privacy, but just a place that you've gone, or something that has been particularly moving.
Or children that stand out, that have had a wonderful experience, that you've seen maybe have some milestones that, the parents said, wow, this happened while they were at camp.
I have two, actually, if that's okay with you guys. I have, a couple years ago, we went to Jet Propulsion Lab. And you can imagine any child with Asperger's or high-functioning autism, that's their bread and butter. That's what they love. So
Jim would love that.
Oh, he's already picked out his office there.
Oh, okay.
There you
He took a picture of the door and he said, Mommy, this will be my office.
Okay,
so,
good.
Yes.
So we actually got a tour of JPL, and we're going to go again this summer. And just seeing the kids' eyes light up when they see the rover that they're working on, and they have all the white gear on with no bacteria, nothing, and the kids are so all about that. They're up against the glass looking and so excited. So just having that, as well as their other field trips, just having these kids look like they're almost typical children going on a field trip, just like any other camp program. So that's just in general. But what parents have really shared with me is that they'll see their children at camp, and they'll see these little things that happen throughout the week, and they're like, okay, that's different. And they come to me and say, my child's never played with another kid before. And I'm like, really? Because your child's out on the playground right now with Johnny or whoever, and just having a great time, and just providing that safe atmosphere, and also a forum for these kids to be themselves, I think is the importance of any kind of program for children with autism. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Great.
That JPL. For people who don't know, that's the, as you were saying,
Propulsion Lab.
But it's part of NASA. It's the local part of NASA, and they send all the rovers to Mars, and all. Fascinating. And once a year they open up to the whole public. But how wonderful that you guys get a special tour.
Yeah, that's
a little budding scientist out there.
That's hot. Very cool.
Right. Well, thank you, Nicole, for sharing this information.
Sharing this information for so many families.